Hello everyone and welcome to my first video. Today we'll be taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy S3 Mini and see what it can do in 2021. So let's start with some quick history. This phone came out in November of 2012. It was meant to be the smaller brother of the Galaxy S3, a phone which sold really well and it was said to be one of the best phones to be released that year. But it had a 4.8 inch screen, which at the time was considered to be pretty big by most people. And also combined with its high price tag, it was a huge turnoff for most people, which gave Samsung an idea about a smaller and cheaper phone to fill that niche. And that's how I got this phone. In my case, this phone was my first Android phone when I bought it back in, May of 2013. Before that, I had a Dell Streak 7 tablet. At the time, I was surprised to see this phone and its AMOLED screen, and I thought it looked amazing, since all of my older phones had pretty bad and small displays. I remember watching videos and enjoying the screen, so I think that was what shocked me the most about this phone. But now it's been 8 years and things have changed quite a bit. This phone came out with a dual-core processor clocked at 1 GHz, a Mali 400MP GPU, which is the same the regular Galaxy S3 used. 1 GB of RAM, 8 or 16 GB of storage, Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, and a 4-inch Super AMOLED with a resolution a bit higher than 480p. Okay, these specs sound pretty weak now, but at the time they were decent. Definitely not the best, but decent. Anyway, it seems Samsung didn't bother to give this phone a major update. With the lame excuse it had only 1 GB RAM, even though they went on to release phones with KitKat that had TouchWiz and 1 GB RAM, so they came across as big hypocrites at the time. Thankfully, the Android community supported this phone and updated it. In this case, I installed Android 4.4 KitKat. And the reason I'm going to use this version for this video and not say Android 7 is because it had a bunch of unique features and the RAM itself is fast and stable, as KitKat was pretty well optimized to run on phones with only 512 megabytes of RAM. Plus, it has the developers that added few handy perks, like the possibility to add a 64 GB microSD card slot, RDG support, and F2FS format. Also, this version, like Android 4.1, is not obsolete in terms of app compatibility. Besides, I took the time to install a custom kernel which allows me to overclock this phone up to 1.2 GHz, and that should give the phone some extra speed. To see how well it behaves. Okay, first off, we'll start with some social media apps. Let's go ahead and test YouTube. And as you can see, the app still works. It takes some time to load the app, but you can watch videos and even answer polls just fine. I have to say this app doesn't work on Android 4.1 anymore, so that's kind of sad, right? Even though the app still somewhat works, but anyway, let's move to Instagram. I personally just barely use this app, but as you can see, it still works. This is the latest version available, and you can see there's some lag, which is really annoying. But the important thing here is that it still works. You can post photos, like post, and even use the camera, Now let's open TikTok, and again it takes some time to load the app, but as you can see, you can still watch videos here, which is great, although it's pretty laggy, so I wouldn't say it's a good experience. So let's move on to the next one. I didn't install Facebook because I don't like it, but you can install the latest version from the Play Store if you want. And it seems there's something wrong with the app because it has such a low rating. So because of that, I won't bother with it. When it comes to Netflix, since I don't use this app, I can't properly test it. But if you wanted to use it, you would be able to just fine. Though you have to download APK from APK Mirror. Now let's move on to web browsing. As you can see, I'm using Microsoft Edge for this video. Since I don't really like Chrome and its latest update, so I'm gonna be using this browser instead. So let's try and look up GTA 5. Okay, it's done, and that was rather quick, you know. So now let's open the Rockstar Games page. Okay, it's done. So that was rather quick. Now let's look up Life is Strange, one of my favorite games. Okay, that was quick. It's still loading the images, which the phone struggles a little bit with the images. So let's open the page for the new game. Okay, it's taking some time to load it, but it's doing it. Okay, it's done. And again, it struggles a lot with the images, as you can see. But at least you can, still browse the web here using this phone. So now let's open apple.com, which is one of the heavier pages on the internet. Okay, it's already there. It finished loading, but they may just take a little bit of time to charge. But other than that when it comes to web browsing, I think it's fairly decent. So let's move on to the next one. When it comes to gaming, the phone can easily handle 2D and 3D games that were released between 2009 and 2013. Games like GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, Mass Effect, Deus Ex The Fall, Dead Space, among other titles. Though some games that used to run well on this phone when they came out, they no longer do. In that list are games like Asphalt 8, Gangster Vegas, Temple Run, Real Racing 3, among others. And I think the reason is they optimized those games for newer phones and left the old ones behind. But some newer games like Clash of Clans, Brawl Stars, Clash Royale, and even Among Us are still playable on this phone. So if you want me to do a video focused on Android games, let me know in the comments. Okay, when it comes to emulators, this phone easily runs consoles before the PS1 and Nintendo DS era. That includes a bunch of PSP games as well. As you can see, I'm running Resident Evil 3 and Mario Kart DS, which run very well, honestly. When it comes to the camera, this phone has a 5 megapixel rear-facing camera with a 2.6 aperture, and that coupled with a VGA selfie camera. These numbers are not impressive in today with phones with more than 100 megapixels. But I digress. This phone had a really bad thing, which is this plastic lens that easily scratches, and after many years you can see it's all scratched up. But I took a lot of photos back in the day when the camera was still okay. In my opinion, the pictures still look decent. Here I have a picture of a lake and it looks good. So I wouldn't consider these pictures to be potato quality. But in darker conditions, the quality falls a lot, to the point where you can barely tell the subject. Now, the selfie camera sucks, so you're better off using the main camera for that. When it comes to battery life, I'm using this 1900 milliamp battery, and the reason I'm doing this is because this phone had a really big problem. And the problem is that batteries would start to blow up after a few months. I have a couple of batteries here. Don't ask me why I still keep them, because not even I know. Anyway, because of that reason, I decided to attach the battery of the Galaxy S4 Mini, which doesn't have this issue. And that extra capacity provides some extra, juice to it. And dependent on the use, it gives me about 3 to 4 hours of screen time, which is okay, I guess. In conclusion, we managed to get a lot of use out of this phone, and that goes to show you that smartphones were pretty capable back in the day. However, I do not recommend buying or using this thing in 2021 unless you are a phone collector or something. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.